The business of healing. Why now and why this? So, we're going to explore why you took the unconventional pathway when you could have just taken the easy way out, the traditional way of medicine, but instead you went into functional medicine. Tell us what sparked that decision for you.
Wow. So, first of all, thank you for having this conversation because I think it's a more and more valid question for more physicians. It's easy to stay in that comfort zone, but that was not so comfortable zone actually, because as an internist with a full practice, private practice, I was burnt out. And it was this keep going, have to see patients. And I'm not a person that takes 10, 15 minutes with a person. I've never, done that. And that's why I didn't even look for an employment opportunity, because I knew I could not be that person. And I take a long time, and it was harder and harder. And I always embraced prevention, and I loved to treat metabolic diseases, to try to get rid of diabetes and cholesterol, and prevent complications down the road. I started taking some supplements. My husband and we started taking some supplements that literally within 2 weeks made a big difference in how we felt. And for my husband, I had to cut his blood pressure medications in half. And that's when I started thinking that, okay, natural supplements are more than just a vitamin and, healthy eating and all that. We were doing that anyway.
Yeah.
So that's when I started doing research and I dove into functional medicine. I discovered that actually you can fix problems. You can go deep down to the root of the problems and start fixing and preventing actually medical illnesses, instead of just being satisfied with controlling chronic illness and be happy with that. I was not happy. So, yeah, that's what made me jump into functional medicine.
Amazing. You're speaking my language. Absolutely love this journey of yours. Dr. Catalina Grija here, really sharing with us this journey of having the epiphany of what natural remedies can do in the body for you, for your family, and this alternative pathway to health and healing as she has now fully embraced in her life. Dr. Grija, if you had to go back to your younger self and give one piece of advice before you started this journey, what would that be?
I think I would be more open sooner.
Mm.
I would not wait for the tipping point where you change or you crash. I would, I was almost living in my office, and many times my husband said, "Should I bring you a blanket or something?"
Wow.
And I was so focused on that I didn't look outside the office, outside the box, so to speak. And I would have balanced things out much more, much better,
Mm-hmm.
even with family life for sure, and with looking at options. You don't have to wait until something happens or until you can't take it anymore to make a change. Change is hard, but it's definitely easier than staying in the same hamster wheel, on the same hamster wheel, and keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results. Definitely would look at multiple options and see what aligns with me and choose a path and decide.
And decide.
Right, like decide. Break all bridges, burn all bridges, and decide to go forth. Because everything's possible. You just have to look for it. Because if you don't look for it, you don't see it.
You don't see it. Yeah, I love that. Everything is possible And everything starts with a decision. You just have to decide. So every founder has that breaking point moment when everything shifts. You talked a little bit about burnout, but what was that breaking point moment for you?
I was literally burned out, like exhausted to the point where I was nauseated and sometimes had to work till midnight or to finish notes. And again, because I'm not a rush person, so I have to do my things properly and I couldn't finish. 24 hours were not enough in a day. And at the same time, I was bleeding money instead of making money. And there was no way to keep going like this. No way. And my husband said, "You have to decide." He's always been my rock.
Yeah.
And um, he made me decide.
That's awesome. Isn't it great to have that spouse, that support in your life that, yeah, just knows what you need, right? How to support you
Exactly.
best. So, if functional medicine had a theme song, what would it be?
Ah, I think freedom,
Mm,
because you are free to dive as deep as you want and you're free to reach as far as you want.
okay.
You're not how should I say, encased in algorithms and in you have to do this way or this is a diagnosis. This is how, things are treated. It's the cookie cutter algorithm. No, no. We are all unique. We're all individuals that need personalized approach in everything, right? So yeah, I think it's freedom.
I love it. Freedom. Let's sing the freedom song. Dr. Grija, that's so amazing. If there's one part of your story that you want people to remember and to know about you, a part that's a defining symbol moment of your journey that really defines your journey, what would that be?
I think change and impact. So change in the sense that you have to sometimes, I mean, most of the time, in order to grow, you got to change. You have to do something else, right? You have to make progress. And don't be afraid to change. It's never too late. I started this in my 50s, so everything's possible, right? And impact. And impact is, I think, part of giving, right? One of the laws of abundance is like, in order to get, you have to give. There's no way around that. And when you want to impact more people, to change more people's lives, actually, not just prescribe a medication and call it a day, but when you really want to transform lives and impact more people than who walks into your office or referred by insurance or even word of mouth, I think that's giving. And it's, again, that step towards freedom. And you have so much more fulfillment. And that's the key to happiness, to really success. Because without impact and transformations and, you feeling fulfilled, how can you define success?
Right. So tell us a time in your journey, in your story, when you saw that come to life, when you gave and you had impact.
I mean, I love it. I remember the first time when I spoke on a stage and there were about 2,000, people in the audience. I felt so good. Felt like, wow, I can do this. And I can, if I talk to every person in the audience, if every person took one thing from my talking, from my speech, and did something to change their life, their actions, their routine, that would be amazing. I did something that it's really impactful.